You are listening to the Living Room Confessional podcast. Hey guys, so happy Monday and welcome back to the podcast. Since we're all still going through COVID, I thought that I'd bring a little positivity to the situation, and I'm bringing on John today, a really good friend of mine that I've known since about 2016 when we started working together. And we're going to talk about how he's using COVID in a different way. Instead of seeing all the negative, he's turned it into a positive, and he's been growing and being blessed during this time and starting businesses and just kind of doing his thing. And we're going to talk about what he's been up to and just all the different things that he's interested in and getting into during this time. A lot of people are having a very hard time right now, and I think that they're having a hard time because we have to be still. We're supposed to be quarantining and social distancing, wearing masks. Everything is very different. And a lot of people are basically having to come to terms with the fact that they don't have a lot going on outside of work and the kids going to like Little League and just the different things, going to clubs, things that you would normally do. Personally, a lot of people are not fulfilled. And instead of seeing COVID as a bit of a burden, why not use the time that you have now? We've never had to just stop and slow down. This is the perfect opportunity to start a business or be creative and start a project or follow through with something that you've been putting off for years. I can attest to this because I just started traveling and kind of getting out there maybe 2 to 3 years ago. And now that I'm not traveling and my work hasn't really calmed down, but I do have that extra time now that I'm not going anywhere after work. I can kind of stop and focus on the things that I've been putting off for years, just basically like this podcast, and really just put the time and energy into it that it deserves. And I think that other people need to kind of square up and look at your life and say, is this what you really want? A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people are looking for direction. A lot of people are just bored. If there's something that really interests you, now's the time. There's no time like the present. Once COVID's gone, how many of us are going to go back to our busy schedules and our busy lives? If you can make the change now and start your business now, do whatever it is that you want to do now, when COVID's over, you will still have it and you can keep going. As long as it's something that you love, it won't be work. You'll enjoy it, and that'll make it even more better in the long run. I'm not going to stay on here and talk too long today because I'm very excited about this episode. John is a really good friend of mine, and we went into a very deep and meaningful conversation today. And I really hope you guys enjoy it and you can take something from it. And please let me know what you think. You can DM me or send me a message at livingroom_confessional on Instagram. And let me know how you like the episode. I'm going to stop talking now, but I really hope you guys enjoy it. Today we have John Aniamu on the podcast. Thank you for coming, John.
Of course, definitely. I'm excited.
So, John, tell me what's going on with you.
Shoot. First of all, I'm Nigerian. So like a Nigerian man doesn't really, kind of sit around or, I'm Igbo, first of all. So, money is the root of all blessings.
All right.
So we try to, have multiple avenues of, trying to find income and, just take care of ourselves and our families and things like that. And that's my biggest thing, to be able to take care of my family and take care of myself and, be able to, do things that, and, really just kind of get away from the 9 to 5, which I'm currently doing. So I've been trying to get into different rooms, talk to different people in different industries and things like that. And, trying to restart one of my businesses or, get in rooms where people are in need of partners or be a partner of someone that I can help just because of my experiences and, my knowledge.
So you're paying it forward.
Yeah,
basically.
definitely. No,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, I'm a believer in Christ first of all. So I mean, everything I do is not necessarily just for me. You know, obviously I want to live good, but at the same time, like I want to be able to touch someone or impact knowledge onto someone else in whatever way, shape, or form that I can do that. But mostly during COVID, I've kind of had time to like just sit and kind of work on my mental state, my mental health, my also my physical well-being, my spiritual health as well, and my spiritual growth. So that's, I mean, that's it, this there's a lot of things that I've been doing, but primarily just working on my mental, my spiritual, reading my Bible more, being praying a lot more, as well as finding avenues. Currently talking to one of I call him my brother, but I mean the only thing that separates us is blood really. But we're working on getting into Amazon trucking, because I used to be in trucking in 2017. I had my own fleet of trucks and things like that. So I want to get back into that. I also, I'm a content creator on Instagram. I've kind of been slacking a little bit on that. It's just because I have a lot of work. There's been a downturn. I'm in oil and gas, so there's been a downturn in oil and gas industry, and my team has become really small. So a lot of work has been put on us. So I'm going to be working after we complete our discussion here. So it's hard to kind of juggle all these things and still maintain a social life and have time for other people and other things that I'd like to do as well. So that's
Yeah, I
kind of
get
like a
that.
quick synopsis. I mean, I don't want to talk too much.
Well, you do have a lot going on. On Instagram, you created a daily prayer page. And what was your inspiration for that?
Honestly, I've always prayed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I got laid off in 2015, October 5th, 2015. And we didn't start working until February. I remember February 4th or 5th or something like that. So in that time, I wasn't working, obviously. And one of my photographer, actually, she's a really good friend of mine. She, advised me, you need to get back in church. You need to start, go back and, kind of rebalance your life. And, you need to come to church. Really. I mean, my dad is a pastor. My mom, I grew up in a church home. And I don't want to say strayed away from it, but not really was, that wasn't my routine or kind of like my daily life to, pray or actually, go to church and things like that. I mean, I was young and I mean, I'm still young, but I was younger and just trying to
We
enjoy
all did
life,
it. You go when you need to go.
yeah, and as a kid, I used to pray walking around the home. My mom asked me, I want to say when I'd gone home, I really want to say 2012, 2011. She was like, do you still pray? Like, like when you were a kid, you used to walk around praying this and that. And I never really answered that question specifically, but it's always stayed with me, So I got back in church. She invited me to church, and like the pastor's pretty young. So he kind of connected with the young folks, which I really love. He talked to us straight, gave it to us like, we would like it, like just, explain the scripture, to our level kind of thing. And I've been there since, I guess, 2015 now. And he encouraged me to, pray more, read my Bible, be more active in church as well. After a while, I started praying in church. It just kind of just happened. And since then, I've not stopped, or nor do I want to. Like I pray in tongues, and that's my spiritual
Oh,
gift.
wow.
Yeah, and initially, before COVID, I was never really comfortable enough with my spiritual to or understood the Bible enough or bold enough to, have that be something that's, I can share with the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like even having a conversation with my pastor, I want to say about a month ago, he was like, man, like, I love your growth. I love where you've come from, and, how you're more comfortable in what you're doing. Honestly, quarantine, it just happened one day. I saw a prayer and then I added my prayer on top of it. And it was something, I don't know, like and I talked to my pastor about it. He was like, that's your gift. There's no church, there's no way for you to share your prayer or share yourself with people or share your prayers with anyone, right? And God put that in front of you. God's Spirit led you to start using your gift a different way. And I hadn't really thought about it like that, because I'm like, yeah, I know I pray, but, and I've prayed for some people and things like that, like even at church, but I never even thought about, okay, well, God is using my gift in a different way now, because
Mm-hmm.
we're not in church every Sunday, Wednesday Bible study and things like that. This is another form for me and I'm like clearly confident in what I'm doing to the fact where initially I was kind of skeptical. I was like, man, I don't know. And it just started out of a whim. Like I just prayed one prayer one day and it just continued the next day. And it was never even a thought. I just said a simple prayer. Like I saw like a post. Then I made a prayer under the post. And then the next day it kind of just, I made another prayer. Like it just compounded.
Yeah, I like it because they're all so short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously I can pray all day, honestly. Like I can sit at home and just pray, right? I try to, sometimes I get directly from the Spirit what I need to pray about or what I should pray about or what I should post kind of thing or get like inspiration.
So have you woken up in the morning and not known what to pray about?
Yes,
or
absolutely.
Okay. So
Absolutely.
what do you do when that happens?
So like sometimes, so normally, like if I'm like normally during the week, I'm up early at like 8:00.
That's not early.
well, like I work at 8:00, but I don't post till like 10:30 till I get inspiration, right? Not inspiration based, but like I'll pray, but if something doesn't click, I'm not just gonna write anything, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, like I follow like other, Christian pages, spiritual pages, and they'll say something or I'll see something, and it just clicked like right there. That's what I need to pray for.
Okay, so
that's what I need to say my prayer on.
So are they always personal, or do you take prayer requests?
I do take prayer requests. Let's go back. What day was it? Last week, Wednesday. My buddy got into a wreck. He's okay, thankfully. But in that moment, we didn't know. It was like 12:00 at night. The day was raining. Tuesday, Wednesday, when there was a storm and stuff like that.
I think it was last Tuesday.
Yeah, last Tuesday. And the next morning, my prayer was for because the day before it was like overall protection. I would say if I remember correctly, it was like just overall protection, right, for everyone that I know, type of thing, or like just protecting people. And then the next day was more specifically towards him and protecting people that I love, my family, my friends, and my acquaintances, because that's what was on my heart. Because I was really worried about his health, obviously. So if something burdens me, then I pray about it. I'm going to share my prayer with that. Like this morning, it was more for our parents, because my mom always worries about us, during COVID and things like that. And then my little sister's always worried, like, because I'm a social butterfly and I've gone out frequently in the past couple of weeks since my birthday. So the past month, and she's always worried about, and I know my mom is worried as well. So this morning, my prayer was for parents that are worried about us, and they've, making sure that, we're, following the path that they raised us in. And my prayer today was, give them peace of mind, in a sense, letting them know that they've brought us up to know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and where to do it, kind of thing. Yeah. In so many words, but that was kind of like my prayer. I'm like, and that's the thing. Sometimes it's just like, I don't want it to seem like it's like writing a book, right? Where people are like, oh, I'm not inspired. I don't have any inspiration. I can pray about anything. Like speaking in tongues, I can pray about whatever. But at the same time, like I want it to be as authentic as possible, where it's something that it hits home. But I know other people, I also saying those prayers, and I didn't realize that till some people would reach out and like, man, I needed this today, or like, this is what I was just praying.
Yeah, I've done that. Your prayers, sometimes they do hit the spot. I'll just be reading something and I'll be like, dang, that's exactly what I'm going through right now.
And I didn't realize that. So like, I want to say I got maybe like 6, 7. And I was like, oh shoot, like maybe I should create a page. Then people can, if you want to scroll, you can scroll through, read the prayers if you need a prayer. And if
I'll say they'll help you. So you can actually use those prayers to kind of get your prayers started for the day if you don't know what to pray about. So that's something I appreciate, because lately I've been trying to make sure that one of the first things that I do in the morning is I pray, give thanks, I open my eyes. But then sometimes it's just like, I'm not going to say my life is perfect, but there's a lot of good going on. So I can always say thank you. But then you're just like, I know there are other things I should be praying for. And then I'll get on Instagram and I'll see yours and I'll be like, oh yeah, that is perfect. Let me add this in and just, keep going.
And that's I don't want to say problem too, because like I'm quick to give thanks, right? But at the same time, I also want to make it a point to pray for something or someone or a group of
Yeah.
people. And then even just like the social issues that we have going on, I try not to
Yes.
make it specifically social issue based,
Yeah.
right? Even though I say those prayers on my own time, I don't want it to become, socially based.
Yes.
I pray for people as a whole, just young adults, parents, kids, things like that. And I just got my prayer for tomorrow. Like, 'cause I really just did, and it's gonna be about children because like I have a lot of friends that have kids, and I haven't prayed for like any of my good friends' kids, or kids in general, just protecting them because they just went back to school, and that's something that has been on my heart for a while, but I hadn't really. So this is a blessing to me because now I already have my what I need to pray for. I mean, I might maybe tomorrow morning when I get up, I might get a different inspiration, but right now in my heart, it's like you haven't prayed for kids in a while. That's just what hit me.
Yeah,
You
I think
know,
that's great, especially right now, because I swear every single day it seems like there's a new Amber Alert or there's something going on with kids. So they need all the
all the
prayers and
praises
covering
and
they can get right now.
facts.
Now, have you had a prayer that just like shook you to your core and been like, "Oh, where did that come from?" Like that just hit the spot.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I actually cried saying writing that prayer. So like my the way it works is for me, I have to like I pray,
Hmm.
then I write based on the
Okay.
prayer I just prayed, right? And when I was praying, I was just like, man, like I don't remember what it was, dude. I'm so mad right now because I really want to share it, and I was just tearing up, and it hit me out of nowhere. Like I woke up and I was like I lay. Sometimes I wake up if I don't have like inspiration or if I don't know what to pray, and I'll just lay in bed. Like I'll sit there and I'm like, I'm not moving till like the Lord talks to me,
Hmm.
and then like I'll probably like lay around or like I'll get on Instagram or like, but not like get on Instagram to like other people's pages. I'll get on Instagram to like the pastors' pages. I follow like Pastor Mike Todd. I follow a bunch of like pastors, and if I see a quote that they have on there that hits home, I'm like, oh, and then that's it. I get off Instagram and then I pray my prayer
Hmm.
and then I share my prayer. There's been times, it's been multiple times, even for a week. I kind of just broken up with my ex, and I want to say a week and a half. I didn't write any prayers. I wasn't really on Instagram, and people were like, "Where are you? What's going on?" Not because I wasn't posting, but because the prayers weren't there.
Hmm.
You get me? I think last week someone was like, messaged me on my personal page. Where are you? We need your morning prayers. And it was like 11:30. I didn't forget. I hadn't received what I needed to, pray about. So I was
Hmm.
working and I was just sitting there and I got a message. And she was like, where are you? We haven't received your morning prayer. And I was like, oh man. And it's happened twice last week. Sometimes like I wake up late because I'm like a night owl. I'll stay up to work or I'll stay up and just watch a movie till like 2 in the morning. So like when I get up right at 8 o'clock and I have to start working. So I'll get to work because I work from home, which is a blessing. And I'll sit down. Yeah, I'm working, but at the same time, I'm still praying internally to like get something or like even when I have meetings in the morning, we normally do what we call safety moments. And someone will say something and I'll be like, that's it right there.
Hmm.
Like that's what the people need. That's what. And my thing is so I haven't really shared my page a lot because I want it to be organic. I want the people that need it. Like if I touch one person every day, I'm good.
It's worth it.
Like that's all I want. Like I don't want a bunch of followers. My personal page, I have a ton of followers, right? But like my prayer page is just to help people that actually need it, not to gain
Hmm.
a followers all around the world. And people are sharing my prayers just because. Like I want it to be for people who actually get touched. If I have 20 followers and each person gets touched a day, or one person gets touched a day, I'm satisfied because I'm doing the Lord's work.
I can
Uh,
respect that. That's
so,
awesome.
like I just and like, that's kind of like my mindset. Like I don't. Yeah, I want it to grow and I want to touch more people, obviously, but on a daily basis, if someone gets touched, if someone likes the word that I have,
And
if
it'll
someone
keep it
like
personal. It takes the pressure off and it keeps it personal.
precisely, and then knowing that people are actually waiting for it, it's like, oh man, like you gotta stay on it, like on days, some days I'm like, I'm not even spiritually there. Like I'm not like, because I mean, every day is like, it's not a burden to me, but every day it's like, I'm not technically there spiritually, that I want to not post today, but I know I pray on my own. So my prayer that I pray, I can share that, you know, like what I pray in my own time is something that I don't mind sharing. So that's, I mean, it's, and being just comfortable with it, you know, it's something I've never been. So like quarantine has been great for my internal confidence in God and doing God's work. You know, I saw a post last week. It said, and it's perfect. It depicted perfectly what my life is, because it was saying something is like, yeah, people are going to criticize you, or people are going to think you're a hypocrite because you're still enjoying your life. But at the end of the day, you're still doing God's work where God's work needs to be done. You know, like me not using my gifts to share to the world is doing a disservice to the world. And I'm not saying like I'm touching 1 million people, but the people that I do touch is doing a disservice to them by keeping my gift to myself.
Now, do you feel like this is a part of your purpose? Since
quarantine, yes. Like now I understand like precisely what I'm supposed to do in life, and it's to pray. Like that's,
and how did that feel when you realized that?
Honestly, I was talking to actually my photographer, and it was she's the one that took me to church, and she's really a good friend. Like it's crazy how like everything has aligned. And we were talking on the phone, and she kind of just helped me like put everything in perspective. Like some days, you know, a lot of people don't know what their calling is, you know, what their purpose is, but you have the luxury of knowing exactly what that is.
Yes.
So why not share with the world? Like, yeah, sometimes I'm like, man, I don't want to pray, but the God in me is like, you have to pray.
Yes.
You know, like, and people misunderstand the power of prayer in a sense that some people are like, oh no, I got to pray for 24 hours or I got to pray for hours. A prayer can be a sentence. God listens to us all day. You know, I can say 2 sentences. I can just and I started writing as well. And like going back to my writing, I realized that like in my writing, everything that I wrote, or even like my past experiences, I would always like mention God, or I would say, you know what, thank you for bringing me out of this, or thank you for helping me understand this, or thank you for opening my mind and heart to this, you know, things like that. And I'm like, I want to be able to share that with the world. So like this is just the beginning for me. I'm still trying to understand it. I'm still trying to, you know, just take it all in. It's still fairly new. I have a lot of plans for what I want to do, but you know, we'll see. Maybe I'll come on here in a year and, you know, I'll bring some surprises with me, you know. But, you know, it's just, I'm open to everything.
Like your first book or something?
So, yeah, that's something that I need to actually really get started on. I've been lucky enough to, you know, have people around me that have been very supportive. And I spent, I want to say about 2-3 hours talking to my pastor about it. And I was talking to my friend and I was like, man, I need like one more confirmation for someone to say, oh, this is what I needed. And then, you know, so that was like the beginning of it. Like, you know, people would hit me up like, oh, this is what I needed. This is what I needed. And I was like, okay, I need one more person to let me know, you know, or give me, give me some confirmation like, okay, you're on the right path. Then I'd start my Instagram page. And I was talking to my pastor and he was like, I'm the confirmation you need. Start it. But I didn't start it right away. I was still kind of like just waiting. I was still, you know, and then I told him, I was like, I want to write a prayer book. You know, I just want to write a couple lines and then give people some lines, some space to continue the prayer or to add to the prayer. And so that's the thought I have. And he was like, well, you've been praying this whole time, turn it into a 60-day prayer book, you know, and then, you know, create and just create from there. So I need to go way back to March and I mean, September now, like I have like almost 6 months of content that I can put together and just pick and choose which ones I want to add into the 60-day prayer book. And it's something that's been in my heart. I mean, even the Instagram page, like one Sunday, like it just came to me. Like I was like, my pastor had given me like the confirmation and I was still kind of like just lollygagging and waiting. And then one Sunday, I think someone said something. She was like, I don't remember exactly what it was. and she was like, "What's the name of your?" She asked me something about like the prayer for that Sunday. She was like, "I want to tag you. I want to tag you so everyone knows like where to go if I what I share." And immediately, like I knew at that moment I had to start my page. So I'm listening to Pastor Todd on YouTube, and I'm like creating my page. Like everything is like just clicking. I know what I wanted to look like. I had already started looking at the template for it. Thankfully, I have people that I'm not really a technology guru. Sometimes, I mean, with some things I am, but like all this extra stuff,
No,
like
I
I'm
hear
really
you.
not great with that yet. I was blessed with a friend she was on it. She was like, "Oh, what do you need? What do you want it to look like? This and that." And I was like, "Oh shoot, like this is a blessing, like
That is crazy. I
yeah,
have the same thing. So I have a Chris in the background. I've got everything in the forefront. He's got all the tech stuff in the back. And he's always like, do you need this? Do you need this? Use this program, use this platform. It's crazy.
it's
But
crazy.
it's crazy how God will put the correct people in your path when you're doing his work, when he wants to steer you in a specific direction and you hit a roadblock. I didn't even have to like say anything to Chris. I just wanted him to be on the podcast. And then he was just like, what do you need help with? What are you doing for technology? And it all just kind of unraveled. And he picked up where I kind of left off or where I was dropping the ball. And so I totally hear that. I think that's amazing that your journey aligns with mine in that way so much.
And that's the you know what? Honestly, I hadn't really even thought about that till I said it. Because it was so like even just the template of my page, it took us, I want to say about 2-3 days, and she was on it. Like it was crazy. Like because I was working and I'm getting like notification after notification. She was like, "Oh, do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this? Do you like this?" I was like, man, like this is because I was like, I don't really know what to use, what templates to use. I try to create one, but it looked rubbish. So she was like, "Oh no, I use it because she has a business as well." So she was like, "Yeah, I use a lot of the templates so I can give you ideas, just things like that." And I'm telling you, like within like an hour, 2 hours, like I just started getting like multiple templates. She's taking the prayer from that day and added it in there, and I was just like, man, oof, this is a lot,
It takes
And
the weight off.
and I didn't even, I never really just asked, like, and I didn't have to do anything, just it was just blessing from above that it just literally just dropped in my lap, and I was like, man, okay, well, I don't have any more excuses. I have the template that I want. Now I just got to create the page, like, and my biggest thing was like, it has to look its best. I want to give like premium quality, I want it to look as professional as possible, and not just too
like
crazy
you threw something
or just,
together.
yeah. Because initially that's what I was doing. I was just playing with like fonts, playing with formats on Instagram. But like, no, you can actually create a template and use that every day. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I just want it to be just prayer based. Like, I don't want it to have anything other than just prayers on there, because that's what I want it to be. If you come on on the prayer page, I want you to just know this is what we're going to be doing. So, I mean, it's been a blessing, honestly. Yeah. Quarantine has been a blessing to me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and it's crazy because one of the things I was going to ask you is, how do you recognize a blessing? And this is exactly how you recognize it. Things just start going right. It's almost like you're not even driving the car. You're just going, and everything you need just like kind of falls into place as you go. And that's exactly what is happening to you.
Yeah.
And it's also great to see how much you have grown, because back in 2015, that John, it's like night and day.
Oh man. I mean, I get that all the time, honestly. And I mean, it's God that's doing, his will in my life, honestly. I mean, even my best friend, she says it all the time. She was like, dude, like, I mean, we can tell, like even on my personal page, like before, I mean, I'd post anything. Like I just, and that's my biggest, so like since quarantine, I've made it a point to, yeah, I still, I still, do my content creation, but I've kind of like, I don't want to say gotten away from it, but not really, because yeah, my page, like, I believe we spoke on this a little bit when we talked earlier, before, and my page, I want people to come on my page and feel a sense of, positivity, be uplifted in a sense, and not feel, yeah, this, everybody's posting everything else, that's going on in the world, but I don't want people to come to my page and still feel that be down. Like, yes, this injustice is going on in the world. People are sharing all these graphic images and these graphic videos. I'm like, no, like, that's not what I'm going to post. Like, I'm not going to post any of those things because, yes, we all see them. It's all over internet. It's all over Instagram, things like that. But my page is, I want it to be as uplifting as possible. I want to touch lives. I want to be inclusive of everyone. Be it that everyone is not in agreement and things like that. So, like, yeah, I've lost a lot of my audience from like before, but my purpose, I know what my purpose is, and it's to bring positivity, joy, life, and love into the world and give those things out to the world as well. So my main concern is not followers. My main concern is not my audience. My main concern is doing what my purpose is, which is I am love because God is love. Mm-hmm. So those are the things I want to share with the world. And these things, and this is honestly, this year has been a blessing because I would never say, last year I would never say anything like this. Like, I've been a lover at heart, yes. Like, I'm a Virgo, but like I just love people. But now, like, everything in me is showing that love that I have for people and that love that God has for me and sharing with everybody else. So it's been an awesome year for me. Oh, I didn't even mention this earlier. So we're going through like a transition period right now. My buddy and I, he just got a job in California where we used to do like a Real Talk Tuesdays because we both worked from home at the time. And we had, we could work from home and still be on Instagram Live.
Wait, so Real Talk Tuesdays, that's when you went on Instagram and you kind of got the topics from everybody and then that's what y'all talked about? Okay.
Yeah. So we did that I want to say about 19 episodes. And it was doing really well, but he's gotten a new job in California. And now we're just trying to figure out what day works for both of us so we can get a specific time, and so we don't have to change it anymore. So he's trying to get his work schedule together now. Been there only about 2 weeks, so I'm giving him some time to kind of just get his routine together, and then we can set a specific time where we can get back to kind of doing that, because that was a blessing to me because I could share my experiences and people could share their experiences with us as well. So we talked about a plethora of things, and just having those discussions, two Nigerian men, two Black men, having those type of discussions about love, life, relationships, trauma, mental health, and things like that was, a lot of people used to message us like, man, like, I really needed this conversation. Watching you guys talk about things like this is like paramount. Like, no one, a lot of people that have different podcasts and lives, and there's just all kinds of stuff online, but like seeing two Black guys just being, transparent and open and having these conversations is something that I cherish, because I was like, man,
that's the dream, because every woman wants to know the man's perspective, and you always when you go online and you go to a lot of these videos and these podcasts, you're everything's sugarcoated. It's not real.
Exactly.
Like they're doing a lot of it. It's scripted. They're saying stuff for show. Yeah. So what you guys do, it's very interesting. And then you allow people to ask questions and things like that, which I appreciate, because then you still get the woman's perspective and you allow them to ask questions so they can get your full answer.
Oh, we've had some real spicy days, some real spicy, because we talked about like cheating and even having like shared bank accounts. It's gotten real spicy on there, like people going at it with each other. And then we also sometimes we let the comments drive our discussions, right? Where we actually interject or give us the insight, and then we would talk about even if we may not agree with them, we talk about what they want to what they want to discuss or lead the discussion to whatever, direction they wanted to go. So I mean, it was a blessing, and I've kind of like slowed down a little bit because a lot of my posts used to have to do with like love and things like that when I was like in love.
You're a teddy bear.
And someone was like, you should write a book. And I was like, I want to write a book on love when I understand what love is. But I don't want that to be my first book. Like I don't, honestly, like earlier this year, you would have asked me, is writing a book part of something you want to do? And I would look at you and be like, what? But now, like, first I want to start off my first book as a prayer book.
You're in a season of growth, definitely.
Yeah. And secondly, like I just want to talk about love. Like I'm not an expert. I'm not no psychologist or anything like that, but I want to share what I think it should be, my experiences of what love is, what I think love is. I mean, obviously it's going to be, biblical and Christian related and things like that, but I have to understand the word more before I can put something like that out to the world. So there's a lot going on in my head, and I'm just, someday God is going to, just calm me down, put me in a place where I can just do those things that I really want to do and take my time. But yeah, that's on the list of, things that I want to do before I, leave this earth. But the prayer book, hopefully, sometime next year, I'm going to put a time limit for it to drop, or at least, be in the works before the beginning of the year next year. That's kind of like my goal for the year, to start working on the book, my prayer book, and putting something together for 2021.
Well, definitely keep me posted, because we need to get you back on here so you can talk about your book before it comes out, or when it comes out. Well, John, the author.
Like it's just, even saying it out loud is something. Because I told my mom, I was like, so I'm gonna write a book, prayer book. Literally, she was like, go for it. Let the Spirit lead you.
I was gonna ask you, how did your parents take all of this?
Like, well, I mean, I don't really talk to my dad often. He doesn't live in the U.S. Mm-hmm. So we don't communicate often. But I talk to my mom like every 2-3 days. Sometimes I haven't talked to her in the past week, so that's my bad. But I sent her a text. I was like, I talked to a pastor, and I'm really in my spirit. It's something that I want to do. And 5 minutes later, I got a text: follow the Holy Ghost, follow your spirit. And it was never like, are you sure? Do you really? Because and the biggest thing, like, I don't play with is my mother, because she's the reason why I am who I am. First of all, like, I've been a bad kid, I've gotten in trouble, all that. But without her prayers, there will be no John. Without her prayers, I won't live the life that I live. I'm not saying I'm the most successful person, but I'm comfortable in where I am. And I would not have any of this without my mother's prayers. So I don't take her for granted, or her prayers. Like, if I really need something, I'm like, Mom, can you pray for this?
Like, I don't remember the quote, but there's a saying that says, it basically talks about how grandmothers, grandfathers, mothers, fathers pray for their children, and you are where you are now because of those prayers. And I do not play with that. Like, don't take them for granted. Like, never, ever. Like, and a lot of people do not understand that, like, the power of a mother's prayer is so significant, and it's just so uplifting that, like, it moves mountains. Yes. Like, and she's moved, like, her prayers have moved mountains for me. And that's something, like, I tell people, like, you got to hold on to your moms. Like, like, I may not talk to her for a week, but, like, I already know, like, she's praying for me every day. And it's the most beautiful thing on this earth. Yeah. I remember my mom used to pray with my sister and I almost every single night. And when we were young, it was just kind of like those long prayers. Yeah. I'm ready to go to bed. But absolutely. Now it's just kind of like things that I remember her specifically praying for, I see come into fruition in my life. And it's just crazy to see, because my mom's not here anymore. So now all I can really do is just like, thank you, Mom, for caring so much. Like, absolutely. She was so sincere in those prayers. They were long, but those were some strong prayers, and they're still carrying me to this day. And that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. I try to tell people too, to be like, to understand, like, prayer. I'm not a pastor.
I'm not a. I just want to pray. Like I just want to pray, and I try to tell people like, yo, you just, first of all, have you prayed about it? Like that's the first thing you got to do. Like no
But
matter
what do
what
you
it
tell
is.
somebody when they don't know how to pray? Can you give them like tips?
What I just talk to God like you're talking to your friend.
It doesn't
Because
have
he
to be
doesn't
eloquent.
have to be eloquent. You sit in your bed, lay in your bed, kneel on the floor, and just say two sentences. Talk to him like you're talking to your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's here. He's always around you. So that's something like people don't like. You don't have to, Father, I thank you. No. You can just say, God, I need you to help me do this. I need you to help me do that. I've sinned and come short of your glory. But today I'm asking, I'm here asking you for this, this, and this. Or just even sometimes I have no prayer and I just say, Father, thank you.
Yes, I wake up with that one a lot. It's just first thing in the morning. You don't know what to say. You just woke up, but you've already been blessed because you open
You
your
roll your
eyes. So just
eyes.
say thank you.
A lot of people go to sleep and don't wake up. And that
Oh,
used to be like my mom used to remind us that when we were kids. I used to always have it in her prayer. Thank you for waking us up this morning because some people slept last night and didn't wake up. And like that always so I get up. If I don't have anything, thank
thank
you.
you.
And then some days I just want to be like, I just want to post it, Father, thank you. But I'm like, I need more depth, And that's where, like you were saying earlier, is there like a pressure? So like maybe sometimes I just want to, I just want to be able to just say thank you. But I'm like, no, like I want to give people that actually need more to get more. And one of these days I probably will do that because every day it's a Father, thank you. Before I
Mm-hmm.
even, start on anything or start on even any of my other prayers. You get me? And one of these days I'm just gonna, Father, thank you. Because, we just, even especially during COVID, thank you. I've said a
Yep.
couple COVID related prayers, just like protection and things like that. I did say a prayer. My last prayer was when the kids first went back to school. I did say a prayer for their protection as well. But it's still in my head. I apologize. I just went back to
No,
that.
you're good.
So that's probably gonna definitely be my prayer for tomorrow for the children. But it's moments like this where I don't take for granted. We're having this discussion, and I get a sense, and I get a feeling, I get a voice like, this is what you need to be praying. This is what you need to pray about. This is what your next prayer needs to be. And sometimes, like even at night, when I say my prayer at night, I get a prayer and I'm like, oh, let me write this down. Or I want to say about 2 or 3 times because I can actually remember like when it happened. At nighttime, I was like, oh, I have my prayer for the morning. Because I want it to be as authentic as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But when I say my nightly prayer and I get something, I'm like, oh no, this is what it needs to be. This is good right here. Like I don't need to, because I want it to be authentic. I want it to be natural. I want it to be personal. I don't want it to be like, oh, I got all this prayer stored and I'm just giving you guys pieces and pieces of what I've stored. Every morning, it's fresh, it's new, it's authentic. It's not planned. It's not rehearsed. None of that stuff. So I just thank the Lord, and I thank the Lord for today, for you having me on here, because I wouldn't have known what He wanted me to pray about. So this is a blessing to me. So, ooh, child.
Happy to help.
It's crazy. I would not be having discussions as such, or neither would you have wanted me on your podcast if I hadn't, you know, if this growth hadn't taken place, because I'd have nothing to talk about. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, if I'm out here still just partying and not like there's no depth, yeah, you can have fun, but like what actually, what do you do at home? Like where's the depth? And I just started really writing and just understanding, like I have to deal with my traumas and things that I've gone through as a kid growing up. Even like I'm open to even having discussions about them, and open to even therapy and things like that. So it's just 2020 has been good to me, honestly. And I still have
2020
a
has
job.
been.
And that's a blessing to me as well, just being able to still keep my job after all the layoffs, being in the oil and gas industry. So, I got a plethora of things to thank God for.
Absolutely. Well, it's kind of crazy because a lot of people are sitting at home. They're doing the exact same thing you and I did. I wanted to start this podcast for about 2 years, and it took COVID for me to slow down and actually get it done. And what can you tell somebody who just can't really figure out what it is that they need to do, but they have all this time? Like, what advice would you give them as far as finding their path and allowing themselves to grow during this time?
I don't want to be a cliche since we've been talking about
Be a cliche. If it's an honest thing, let's go.
First of all, just pray. That's like my go-to. Like and it sounds, it's like, oh Lord, but just pray, right? And then find things that you actually enjoy doing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, that's my biggest, find something that you actually enjoy. Like when I started like content creating, like I actually like enjoy like, I don't want to like put myself in a box and say modeling, but when I started content creating and modeling and influencing or whatever you want to call it, like I actually enjoy that, you know? And with that, more doors open. Mm-hmm. With the platform that I have, be it not a huge platform, right? But with the platform that I have, I'm like, you know, and even when my life started off with just random conversations about random things. I remember the very first one I started, I was doing it by myself for like a couple of Tuesdays. So the first Tuesday I ever did it, a friend of mine at work was pregnant, and she was kind of like trying to hide it or whatever. And I was like, oh dang, like you were like, how do you get pregnant? You don't have a man, you know, or whatever. So like, how are you? And she was like, oh, this dude that I know, we just decided to get pregnant. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, you know, I'm 31, I'm getting older. I was like, what? So do women do this? And that was my first conversation. Like that was the first topic of Real Talk Tuesday. So I was like, all right, Real Talk Tuesday, I need to ask women, like, you know, and I give them like our conversation. This is like me, her, the conversation that we had. And I was like, women, I need to know, like, this is what really you guys are doing when you get to a certain age. And that's how Real Talk Tuesday started.
Yeah, I remember commenting on that. And then the next that Tuesday, was a little shocking.
Yeah, right? Because everyone was like, what? Like, hold on, time out, back up. I was like, exactly. And then the next Tuesday, we talked about something else. And then quarantine happened. And I was like, oh, well, we can turn into a live. Now that I'm not at work, I can actually, because I'd post like everyone's comments and things like that and create a discussion. And then we was like, okay, well, then I was like, well, I have a perfect person. He likes to talk. I'm not really much of like a talker per se, but he actually tried to start the Real Talk. I was busy one day, and so he tried to he started the Real Talk that Tuesday, and he kept texting. He's like, John, I need you. Like you bring a different vibe to it. Cause like he'll talk, but he wouldn't engage like the people that are actually in the comments, you know? So like, and it was like, we had like a yin and yang type of thing. Like he brought what he brought and I brought what I brought. And even that was a blessing in itself, because like we were like perfectly matched up together.
Yeah, y'all have a good dynamic.
Yeah. But going back to your question, is just, first of all, just find something you like to do and then find something around that. Because my biggest thing is, don't do nothing that, like, life is short, as 2020 has showed us. Like nothing is guaranteed, even life. So do something that makes you happy. Yes, like we have to work jobs that we may not want to be in. Obviously, you have to pay your bills. But at the end of the day, like, you also have to do things that are going to make you happy.
Find your passion.
You know, find your passion. You know, try different things. You know, like I'm you know, and right now I'm in different things that I'm just trying to understand, different industries that I'm trying to get into, that I'm trying to understand as well. But at the end of the day, it all comes back, you know, to what my purpose is, which is prayer. But at the end of the day, I still got to pay my bills. I still got to, you know, make sure I'm okay, my family's okay, monetarily, you know, if anything. But just find something that you enjoy doing, and
it's not even like work when you do that too.
Exactly.
Yeah, as long as you enjoy it, you'll look forward to it.
Exactly. You know,
I feel like I talk about this podcast more than I talk about my actual job.
Exactly. Like, I don't even talk about my job a lot. Like, even on Instagram, on my personal page, I don't even talk about my content creation anymore as much as I do my prayers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that. I talk about my prayers more. So people are like, oh man, like you actually really post prayers every day. I'm like, and a lot of women are like, just like flabbergasted. They're like, you really are praying on Instagram? I'm like, nah, yeah. Like, and that's one thing I have had to like separate. I don't want women like, oh, you know, reaching out and like, oh my God, I love a prayerful man, blah, 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 blah. You know, I'm like, this is what my purpose is. And I'm not trying to use it as a way to, you know, get more women or any of those things. I'm a prayerful man. I've always been a prayerful man.
This is just one part of you.
I know my purpose. I'm going to pray regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't want it to be like, oh, I'm using this to get this, or nah, like I don't. And I try to make that known. Yes. I mean, most women love a prayerful man or a man that prays or acknowledges God. And
you should.
I mean, yeah, obviously, right? But at the same time, you know, that's something that I try to kind of make sure that there's an understanding that, you know, this is part of me. This is who I've always been. And that's one thing I kind of realized. My previous relationships, I was never really forthcoming. Mm-hmm. And, you know, being like, yo, I pray, I speak in tongues, I pray in church, things like that, and how important God, and, you know, obviously, like some people don't believe in going to church, but that's important to me.
You put it on the back burner a lot in the relationship. Everybody's always like, oh, we have to have the God talk. And once you have that talk, sometimes it stops there. It's like, do you want to go to church with me? If I'm having a bad day, are you the type of man that's going to be like, well, you want to pray about it? And I will say this to a lot of women out there. Yes, you may want a man who prays, but that man also deserves a woman who prays.
Because if you can't pray for me, we got a problem.
Exactly. You know, like, it's a two-way street.
It is. It's like, I don't want to even say taking out the time, because it's not a waste of time. It's never going to be a waste of time for women to pray for anyone.
I pray when I'm in the car. One of my rules is the minute I get in the car, I say a prayer. And that's one of the ways that helped me remember to pray in the morning. Because sometimes you wake up, I'm running late, I'm in a rush. I got a puppy. So I'm like, oh, I got to take the dog out, do everything I need to do. And you don't pray.
Yeah.
So when I get in the car, the minute I turn the key, I automatically start praying, because I've been doing this for almost 2 years now. And it's just a reminder. You got to put it in your routine.
Mm-hmm. It takes 21 days to, you know, for something to be in your routine. 21 days.
Mm-hmm. That's why you pray and fast for 21 days. I just came off one of those.
You know, like, and once you get to that point, like now, like even like my morning prayers now is just, John got to pray. You know, like John is a prayer. Like, and it's so crazy. Because when I first started, I didn't even realize I started. You get me? Mm-hmm. And by then it was already like a month in that I was like, oh, well, I'm saying a prayer every day, you know? And then it was just like, okay, well, we're going to keep saying prayer every day, you know, because I already pray anyway. So at that point, it was already something that I was already doing without even me acknowledging that I was doing it or trying to do it, you know?
Yeah. And I'm like, you don't have to. One of the things that people should know is that when you're just starting to pray, you are going to forget. And that is okay. You're going to forget to pray, and you won't pray daily. But when you have that thought, you're like, oh, I haven't prayed today. Just go ahead and pray. Like it's a very simple thing. Don't put too much thought into like
what the prayer
you don't need to be exactly. You don't need to be elaborate. Just come correct. Anything that's bothering you at work. I have literally been sitting at my desk and somebody makes me mad. And I'm not the type of person to pop off on somebody. But at the same time, I will go to my car when I need a minute. I will pray. I will listen to at least one gospel song. Then I will go in and go about my day. But prayer is a tool. You can use it when you need it, but use it when you don't need it as well. Mm-hmm. Because that's when you can say thank you. When you don't have anything that you feel that's on your heart that you really just need to pray for, just thank you. I'm good.
You know, so, like sometimes when I was in the office, I just put my head down. Like I just need 5 minutes. You know, like I put my head down, shut my computer down real quick, or just, you know, put my head down and say a quick prayer. Like it's as easy as that. You know, like God is everywhere. God hears us. You know.
Absolutely.
I feel like this episode is like we've turned into like a mini sermon. You know?
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean that's good, because I like having these type of discussions. Honestly, it's really it's really why I also like my Real Talk Tuesdays, because it gave me a chance to just, express myself, or, talk about God, and share, what he's done for me, like my testimony. And by no means am I perfect. I sin every day. I'm going to sin every day, knowingly or unknowingly. That was one of my prayers. And when I was a kid, my mom used to always tell us, like, you're going to see, you're going to do something wrong, even if you know it or if you don't know it, but never, ever let it, get to you or bother you to the fact that, you can't complete what you're trying to do or what your day should be like, and I said that, I said a prayer as such one morning, and I was like, man, I should credit my mom for this, because I was like, man, like, so like little things, like now I'm like remembering, like, prayers that she's prayed, like when I was growing up, that, have helped me get to where I am now. And it's just, I mean, she's been a blessing. It's just, 2020 has been a blessing. And I remember one of your questions, because I was looking at it earlier, and it's one of the questions you were going to ask is if I received any negative responses or negative feedback.
Yeah.
No. And that was like my biggest thing. Like when I created the page, or, like how even on a Saturday night, like I don't go out most Saturdays, or like, I mean, I smoke hookah a lot. And people would be like, "Oh no, he's smoking this." So I don't. That's all I smoke. I don't smoke anything else. But like, I smoke hookah a lot, and that's like my unwind for the end of the day, right? If I just like, I normally sit at home with my dog, watch a movie, read a book, write in my journal, and just chill after work on most days. But if I go out, and then every morning, the first thing I post has to be a prayer. I've done all this stuff last night. You get me? Like let's say on a night that I'm out till like 6 a.m., right, with my friends, or like birthdays. Like Friday, I was out with my friend's birthday till 5 a.m. But when I got up, the first thing I still did was write a prayer. But I was never confident enough to do that before, or even just confident enough to write a prayer, period. But now I'm even more confident in who I am and what God has for me and my purpose, that no matter what I did the night before, or no matter where I was, right, I'm still going to share the word with everybody. Like, I'm that confident because I know what I'm supposed to be doing in life.
That's awesome.
So, like, I can still go out and have fun with my friends. And then when I wake up, I'm still going to share my prayer, because that's what the Lord wants me to do. And that growth, like, it was, I guess, in saying that, it's like I was, I was doubtful of my own self, because like I've never gotten any negative responses or negative comments, but in my head or in my heart, I was conscious about that, and now I feel like God has given me the confidence to be able to still be myself in the aspect of, being there for my friends, hanging out with my buddies, and then still doing what he's called me to do. Like, no one is perfect. Pastors make mistakes all the time. I mean, there's pastors doing all kinds of crazy stuff out here. Get me?
Yeah, I know.
And they can still get on the podium. Why can't I still, get on my little podium and still share my prayer?
Well, honestly, like, even my pastor said that he talks about his divorce and mistakes that he's made. Well, I'm sorry, not divorce. He wasn't divorced. He's separated from his wife for 2 years, I believe. And it's situations like that God can use to allow pastors in general, as well as other people, to be more relatable. When you think somebody's perfect, you're not going to listen to them. You take everything they say with a grain of salt. But when they've walked in your shoes and they know the struggle, and you can see them as an imperfect human, you listen more. Yeah. Because they identify with what you were going through in a different way. So I get that. That makes perfect sense.
This is a blessing. Like, I'm ecstatic right now. Like, I'm over the moon. Like, I'm really enjoying this. Like, I'm loving this.
I'm glad.
Honestly, I needed this to start my week. So thank you.
Oh, it is Monday.
Allowing me to, be part of this, and being able to share, my growth Because I mean, everyone grows. You know how people say like, I'm open to growing, I'm open to learning, but some people are just not.
I know.
You're
I'm
just stuck in a box, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like you're still the same person that you was. Like what have you done to better yourself? Like, where's your head? Where's your heart? Like what are you doing? Like, and you don't have to show the world. Like, and that's one thing. Like this misconception, right? You don't have to share anything with the world. Like you can grow in your own little corner by yourself.
Yes.
But if you're still doing the same repetitive actions and the responses are still the same and it becomes a cycle, then I'm like, well, I don't need to see it. But like when your responses and your actions are still the same from years ago, I'm like, okay, you're still the same person. You can tell me one thing, but actions are not gonna lie. You get me?
Yeah, I got you.
So like it's just I just want people to be more open to just love. That's my biggest
And I will add on top of that, my mom always used to tell me that when I would come to her, Mom, I want to do this or I want to do that, I want to do this. And she'd be like, have you prayed about it? If you want to grow, if you want to try something and step out of your comfort zone and just kind of bring your ideas and your creativity to life, as much as you talk about it, make sure you are also praying about it.
And like getting yourself in line to do what you need to do. You get me? Like you shouldn't say, I want to be, let's do something just absurd. I want to go to the moon.
That's not absurd.
I mean, but you're over here freaking, you haven't even, you're not trying to get a degree. You're not trying to, do anything. You're not trying to understand what goes into that. You're not trying to go to school. Yeah, whatever it's called. You're not looking to any of that. You're not putting yourself in that space or in those rooms where the people can have those discussions. You can have those discussions with you. You get me? Like you're doing complete opposite. So I'm just like, okay, you're saying all of this, but what are you doing to help yourself? Like you have to help yourself. I mean, God is going to always help you, right? But you also have to help yourself.
You have to move your feet.
Yeah.
He'll give you the ability to walk, but you need to move your feet.
Precisely. So if you're just like, oh God, give me this, but you're not really even trying to help him and help you get you that.
It's like, okay. God's gonna be like, bro, go get a job.
You know what I mean? Like I want $1 million, or I want to build a house, but you ain't got no job.
He will give you the tools you need, but you have to do the work.
So it's just, I mean, that's really my advice. I'm not an expert. I'm still struggling with some of that because there's a lot of things I want to do, and then I haven't gotten to the right spaces or the right rooms or even just like the mind frame. And then I'm just like, I try to be I don't want to say try, like it's just something I wanted everything to be perfect. So I have to, even with my, like I was saying, even with my page, like I was like, yo, I just have to do this, and then I can grow, and then you can show the growth in it, where it came from, where it started to where it is, wherever it's gonna be, So it's, we'll see.
Well, I'm happy to watch you on your journey, and I'm just like, dude, I'm still a little shocked because I'm like, this my John, not John's over here. Just watching you grow is just awesome to witness. So I'm very proud of you. And I think you are definitely in your element. You're going to do some big things.
From your mouth to the Lord. You heard her? You heard her? All right, bet. But age has also, been good to me. You know how everyone always says men mature slower. And I feel like that's also my case. I don't want to say my case in general, in a sense, but like I just needed some time, and I'm 31 now. It's like, okay, like we got to start, making some actual like significant moves, like in my mental orientation, like what's going on up there, how I think, how I respond, and things like that. So. No.
Everybody matures at their own pace, and it's okay if you're not maturing as fast as other people. But
I think that's what my problem before, because like initially I was like, I need to do this by 30. I need to be a millionaire. Woo. Like 30 came. Shoot,
Baby, don't I'm gonna tell you right now, rip the
Throw all that
list
stuff out the
up, or you
window.
gonna end up like
Yes.
end up like me, married,
Just,
divorced by 26.
like, throw all that
The
stuff out the
list
window.
ain't nothing nice.
Yeah,
Just
like,
take your time, and it's
mm,
all in God's time. When it is meant to happen, it will happen. You just need to keep moving.
yeah, for a fact, for a fact.
All right, John. Now, why don't you tell everybody where they can follow you and
Oh, yeah. So,
plug all your pages?
my personal page is I am _ John Anyanwu, ANYANWU. For just fashion content. I'm trying to do a couple of different things here in the next couple of months. I want to get into like rails. Those look really cool. I want to do
Don't forget the prayer page.
like. Oh no, I'm not done. No,
Okay, my bad.
I want to do some fun stuff with that as well. And then my most important page, my prayer page,
Yes.
called Praying Inward. INWARD. So praying inward. You get a daily prayer. Send me your prayer requests. Send me anything that you want me to pray on. And I don't have to post any of that stuff. Like, if you need me to pray on something, send me a prayer. Like, I'll say a prayer for you. You know what I mean? I'm not like no pastor or anything like that. But I just know that, that guy up there, we're best friends. That's my guy. So, I'm very open to, helping people, praying with people, for people, and things like that. So I want to be a blessing to anyone that I can be, and, help,
you're blessed to be a blessing.
Out. Yeah. So it's, praying inward. Follow my page, send me a message and things like that. If you need anything, just, let me know.
Pop by and say hi.
Yeah, just
or ask him to say water.
No, we're not doing that on here. We're not doing that on here. Someone actually asked me that last week, and I said no. And I was like, no, that's not happening. And then we were talking, and then it just came out. They're like, oh, you said it. I was like, oh, shoot. So, yeah, I try not to.
All right, so this is the living room confessional. Let's have that confession.
I mean, it's not necessarily a confession, but a lot of people don't know this, and they're always shocked when I tell people. So I have a twin sister, and my little brother and sister are also twins. So we're two sets of twins in my family, and I hope to have twins someday. But she lives in LA. I live in Houston. My little sister right now lives in Dallas, but she lives in DC. And then my little brother's in Michigan. We've traveled around the world. We're blessed to do that. But every time I'm like, there's another one of you? I was like, no, it's a girl. It's a girl.
Can the world handle another John?
Right? No, someone was like, there's another one of you? I was like, no, it's a girl.
It's crazy how y'all do so the first time I saw a picture of her, I was like, y'all don't really look alike. But the more I see her in pictures with you, y'all do look alike.
You think so?
Yes. Go stare at a picture of you and your sister. Y'all look like twins.
Yeah, I get it all the time. When I tell people, oh, I'm a twin, they're like, what? You are? I'm like, yeah. Boy or girl? Most people are like, oh, like that know me, like without knowing my twin, are always like, oh, there's another one of you. And then other people that don't know me are like, oh, boy or girl? I'm like, oh, girl. And they're like, oh, does she look like you? I'm like, no, she's like dark, and I'm like fair skin. I'm not light skinned. Don't even try it. Don't even say it.
You're like a chocolate caramel kind of mix.
Caramel, like, yeah, but like
you're like a Snickers. And she's a Hershey's.
No. This thing is too dark. No offense. Like, no, that's too dark.
I give you're a Yoo-hoo.
Oh, yeah, I could be that. Exactly.
You're chocolate milk.
Oh, Lord. No, but I mean, I love you, Courtney, man. We've been rocking since I didn't know it was, I thought it was 2016. I mean, it's technically 2016, though, February 2016.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you're right.
I thought it was 2017, but it's actually 2016. Yeah, because we were there for a year and a half. I was there for a year. You were there a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, then 2017, you went to your current company. So, yeah.
Get out of there.
Yeah, I hope they all listen to this part.
I do and I don't.
I mean, right? You know, but I mean, it was a blessing because I mean, we got to meet. We've had like really interesting conversations over the years, and I mean, now like even your growth as well. Like you're being comfortable doing this because when I first met you, you barely talked. So like you know now, like, except you were really comfortable with whoever it was, but you barely really said much. Kind of did your thing, walk in and out, and they'd be gone. Like, oh, where's Court? She's
Courtney's gone.
Okay, right? Like,
the minute the meeting's over, Courtney already left.
Right? First one to walk out the room, like, oh, you ain't talking about nothing? All right, bye. Like, then everybody else is like lingering around, and she's already gone. So, like, I'm really proud that you took that step and that leap of faith to do this and put yourself out there. That's the biggest thing. Like,
well, great things happen when you leave your comfort zone. I can attest
precisely.
to that.
No, for sure. So, it's a blessed thing, that you're doing this. And I look forward to, I'm going to be listening, obviously. And, I want to see how how everyone differs from our discussions. I feel like I talked a lot and I apologize. I don't know.
No, you're good. That's what it's for, is a podcast.
I talked a whole lot. And I'm not usually the one that talks a whole lot. I guess I've been on a few podcasts at this point to kind of know like when to talk and when not to talk and things like that. Because some people just ramble, and I'm like, and I almost did earlier. And then I was like, okay, chill, like bring it back, reel it back in. So, but no, it's been a pleasure. I really enjoy this.
Well, I appreciate you doing it.
I just want to just share my growth, right? Like, and how my growth came about, because everyone has a different story, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Listening and seeing how everyone's growth differs in mine and what they did and how they did it, and just learn from them as well. Like me, I just want to, I'm a sponge. I just want to learn. If I can learn from someone's experiences, I'm definitely open to that.
That's the whole purpose of this podcast. So
see, like you touching lives already. Like we talked about prayer.
Let's go.
Like, I mean, other people are going to talk about all the different things. So like, I want to learn from everybody's experience and what they're doing.
Thanks for tuning in, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you want more information on previous or future episodes, please check out my website at thelivingroomconfessional.com. And you can also check out and follow my IG page at livingroom_confessional. Thanks again for tuning in. Bye.